morning, friends. This is Tom. I'm back in the shop. It's a chilly day in Northeast Indiana, and I'm here to talk about gears again. The last video, thank you very much for all the interest and all the comments and questions that came back from that. I appreciate that all very much. And I'll tell you that in the last couple of days, I've improved the machine. I'll share that with you. I've done some things like add an outboard support for the work arbor, and I've also kind of I've refined the adjustments for finishing the flanks of the gear, and I'm very happy to report that this is the result. I don't know that it's perfect, but it's pretty good. And it meshes with a similar gear with a similar DP pretty well. But I'm going to make another one of these. And normally my MO would be to make a prototype gear out of aluminum and bandsaw it in half so that I could test the mesh. But honestly, I think this is a kind of a trophy, so I'm going to save that one and make another one, even though it's quite a bit of work to make one of these things. But I think I've finally got the technique down reasonably well. I think I can produce a consistent tooth. And the actual tooth that you see here varies smoothly from OD to ID, and the profile changes and the tooth height changes, and it does all the things a proper bevel gear tooth should do. So we'll go through how this was made. I've got some pretty good video that frankly, needs to be sped up to make it palatable even to me, but that's what I'll do. And we'll talk a little bit more with some diagrams and a little bit of math. Not a lot, and some notes about technique and so on. So this isn't going to be a very long video, but I'm going to try to pack a lot of important content into it if you are, or you happen to be, or you happen to know someone that might be interested in producing this kind of gear with this kind of approach. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, here we are. Come on. I can tell you exactly why I used all thread for that, because I couldn't find any 3/8 bolts the right size. Okay, there's my centering fixture. And there. Okay. And that. We're good. And that one's up. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely better. Do it.
Deer, black, and has documents. Deer. It's better that. And little and the face with April.
Okay, I'm not sure this is going to work, but I'm going to try to explain the setup here. And this is in particular, hopefully is going to explain how you make the adjustments for the profile corrections. And this is going to look similar perhaps to the diagram that I made for the parallel tooth bevel gears, but of course these gears are a different animal, and even though the correction process is very similar, it's a little bit different because you're generating unique tooth profile, involute profile along the length. So just to talk about the setup of the machine, the things that are different here, in fact, I think I've got, this is the diagram that I made before. And the thing that's different here, you'll see, is this was set up to describe the making of a parallel tooth. So the pitch line, the root surface, the tip surface are all parallel. They've each got their own little cone. And what's different with this is that all the substantial parts of the tooth come together at a single point, which is the apex of the pitch cone. So we're shooting for something that's a reasonable average profile around this, this pitch line that runs through the pitch circle at the OD and the pitch circle at the ID and comes to that aforementioned focus point. But what we really do is we set this up so that the tool, this is the tool moving back and forth, the tool passes along the root surface at the root angle, which in this case is 40.5 degrees. So we're making a 45-degree gear. That's the bevel angle. That's the angle to the pitch cone. But we make the blank with the tip angle that again focuses at that point, and that's 49.5 degrees, give or take a little bit. And we set the blank in the machine at the angle that lets the machine cut that root angle, which is 40.5. So the tool, I'm not sure I've got this right, and if there's anybody out there that knows more about this than I do, they should feel free to chime in the comments. But the way I set mine up was I set the tool, I ground the tool to be, the tip width was about 75% of the minimum width. I'll check that number, but so the tool is ground into a trapezoid. This is the pressure angle. I set these up to be 20 degrees, but looking at the Gleason documentation that I've been able to find at vintagemachinery.org, thanks very much, Keith Rucker. So what you want is something, I think, at least from what I've done, you want the actual cutter to be narrower than the smallest tooth channel that you need to cut. So this is what we're shooting for. These tooth shapes here are all basically approximately, at least schematically, what they should look like for a proper bevel gear. But the cutting path, the two corners, these two corners of the cutting tool are parallel, and because they're parallel, they can't pass through that point. So the way I've done this, the way I've set this up is when you cut that initial gash, those two corners of the root channel have to be parallel because that's the way we made them. But what you end up with is shown in the blue lines on this diagram. And you can see that there's material that needs to be taken off the tooth on either side, kind of symmetrically, mostly at the OD, but kind of tapering down to a slight removal at the ID. And basically the way we do that is we have to bring we have to rotate the tooth 1/4 of the index angle. So we're indexing 20 times, so I guess that'd be 18 degrees per. So 1/4 of 18 degrees is the adjustment angle. But then, if you see what that would do, that would take off quite a bit of material at the root, and that's not what we want. So we move this back half the tip width of the cutter, which essentially means that on this path, we'd be removing that material right there, all that material. Now, if we come back to start, now we rotate the other way. And then we have to offset here. And now we're taking material off the other side of the tooth. This is taking the flank of the, I suppose it would be the counterclockwise flank of the tooth. And you can see the material coming off if you look carefully. One of the things that I had to learn here was how to find the right starting and stopping points, because you don't want to carry this too far. You start cutting the facing tooth away. But anyway, this is just stepping around the clockward flank, or the counterclockwise flank of the gear, and kind of truing the angle relative to the location of the pitch cone apex. Here we're cutting the clockwise flank. And this is the original gear, and I'll show some footage of the duplicate gear being made as well, but the original gear came out pretty well here. Well, this is the last pass. So this is truing up the, I guess it would be the clockwork flank of the tooth. And I'm going to let this play a little bit, but then at the end you'll get a chance to see how well these gears mesh together.
Done. Doesn't look too bad. There's one place right there where I tried to back the rotary table up and I got caught by the backlash. So just a little miscut on one edge of one tooth. Well, let's have it out of there and see what we've got. Well, needs to be cleaned up, but I think that's not bad. Let's go clean it up and see how it meshes. And I think these are completely usable from my standpoint. I learned a few things about technique, which are important, but not really noteworthy. But I think the main thing is these two gears mesh together pretty well. Anyway, this looks really good. I'm well pleased, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this these couple of videos. There'll be more on this subject. I have a feeling that I'm only just getting started. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.